Hello, this is Jamie Drummond for Good Food Revolution. We are joined once again by our good friend Jill Bucaro, who's joining us from Los Angeles Wellness Riot. How are you today, Jill?
I'm very good. How are you, Jamie?
I'm fantastic, thank you very much. Enjoying
Good.
this snow. You've got all that gorgeous weather down there, and we're still in the
Yeah.
midst of winter. Now, today we are going to be talking about this water, how important it is to our bodies, and what we can do to ensure that we are sufficiently hydrated. Take it away, Jill.
So, first of all, March 22nd is World Water Day. So this is well-timed conversation. So we can all, note that day in our calendar. But water plays a role in almost every function in our body. Like the shorter list would be what it doesn't do for us. But,
Right.
Among the many things that it does for us, it lubricates our tissues and our joints. It helps us detoxify in part by flushing organs like our liver and our kidneys. It helps us move our bowels. It provides moisture like our saliva, our eyes, our nose. It helps regulate our body temperature. It helps carry nutrients and oxygen to our cells. It aids in digestion. It helps dissolve vitamins and minerals. I mean, there's not really much you could say in the body that can work without water.
Now, how much water should we be ingesting each and every day?
So it is going to vary from person to person, but
Mhm.
a good place to start is about half your body weight. I guess so. This is pounds in ounces of water. So you'll have to help me do the math. But if
Okay.
somebody weighed 150 pounds, that's like what, 70 kilograms? I don't know. But 150 pounds, you want to drink 75 ounces of water a
Oh, I
day.
see. I see.
So yeah, you want to drink half your body weight in ounces of water, not half your body weight in.
That was, you confused me in one of our previous sessions because I didn't understand it was in ounces. And I was speaking with my wife and saying, that's impossible.
It is impossible. Don't do that, please. No, in ounces. So you
Right.
want to drink about 75, ounces if you
I
weigh
see. I
150
see.
pounds.
Now, is it
Yeah,
possible to drink too much water?
it is. So there's a couple ways that I like to drink water, and then there's this will lead into like how you could possibly drink too much.
Hmm.
So it's good to start in the morning with like a glass of water, like 16 ounces, 20 ounces, because if you think about it, even if you drink, you're pretty steady about drinking during the day, say you sleep 8 hours, right? You've gone at least 8 hours without taking in any
Yes.
hydration, right? So in the morning is a good time to start your day with like a glass of water. It helps move your bowels. It helps flush all the toxins. Like it's a really great way to start. After that, it's really ideal to sip water throughout the day rather than just kind of drinking like, a pint or, a quart like every 4 hours, because our body can only tolerate and assimilate so much water at a time. So I don't know if you've had this, like I've done this, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm like, oh, I haven't drank enough water. And I take a, giant glass. And then 15 minutes later, I'm in the bathroom peeing. It's like, okay, well, we know where that water went,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So you sipping throughout the day. And then to be honest, tapering off a little bit, starting around dinner time. So it doesn't disrupt your sleep,
Right.
especially I think for people my age and old. I mean, like or if you've had children,
Yeah.
like you just end up going to the bathroom. So you can taper off. But one of the ways to know that you're drinking too much would be, again, if you're drinking and you're going to the bathroom right away, if your urine is clear,
Right.
like if you're peeing and it's clear, you're drinking too much. It should be like a pale straw color, like a pale yellow. So those are some ways that you can kind of, identify or, note yourself if you might be drinking too much. But you can also start like, with that half your body weight in ounces and just measure yourself against that to start. Like, oh, I should be drinking 75. Whoa, I'm actually drinking 100. Maybe my body would do fine if I cut it down a little bit.
Is there anything to be said about, I'm not sure if it's an old wives' tale or not, the idea that if you're only drinking water when you feel thirsty, you're already dehydrated? Or, I don't know. I can remember my mother telling me that a long time ago.
Yeah, I've heard that as well. So by the time you're thirsty, it's not like it's unrepairable, but you
Yeah.
do want to sip throughout the day so that you kind of avoid that, like, oh, I'm
Right.
dying of thirst, right? And then I guess, too, that 75, I'm saying 75 ounces, but that half your body weight in ounces, can vary if you are in a hot climate, if you're exercising, right? If you drink alcohol, if you're sick, if you're pregnant, if you're breastfeeding, there's different reasons that you might want to up it, for some reason. But you can start with that. But yeah, you want to kind of avoid getting to that real thirst, because that's your body. Your body's going to try to compensate for as long as it can and use the reserves that it has. And then when it tells you it's thirsty, it's go time.
Okay. Now, here's a question for you. You said in the morning, start off with a glass of water. Could you switch that out for tea or coffee?
So herbal tea, yes. Right. Caffeinated tea and coffee, it wouldn't be a good exchange. Like, you can certainly add those as part of your fluid intake for the day, but like the caffeine has a dehydrating effect, so you're kind of not quite getting to what you want to get to for the pure hydration. But yeah, like an herbal tea would be fine. And there's reasons to drink, something other than water too, right? There's different minerals and antioxidants and different things in different beverages. But for hydration purposes, plain water is the best.
So along similar lines, you couldn't swap out water for beer and count that in your fluid intake?
You could try. Let me know how that goes. Yeah. Well, back to the alcohol thing. In fact, if you drink a beer, and now talk about going to the bathroom, but if you drink any alcohol, you should maybe even try to alternate that, either sip for sip or drink for drink with water. So that can be helpful too, to combat the dehydrating effects of the alcohol.
I see. Now, we are fortunate enough to live in a society where for the most part, people have access to clean water, but not all water is created equal, is it? And we're talking here about, whether it's tap water or bottled water or filtered water and the like. Tell us a little bit about different types of water.
Well, ideally, we would drink, in general, what we want to drink is water that contains some natural minerals, but not chemicals, right? And toxins. Right. So whatever that is what ideally we would drink. And, back in the day, that could be like our rainwater or our, fresh water. It's not really that case anymore for most of us that live in cities and, more urban areas. But yeah, there's spring water, there's filtered water, distilled, reverse osmosis, alkaline, tap. So I would say, reverse osmosis and distilled water, they've gone through a process, or they have been stripped of everything. They're the cleanest, it's literally H2O.
Yes.
There's benefits to that because there's no chemicals, no toxins, but there's also no minerals, right? There's also no minerals. So that's a good choice, but you want to make sure that you're getting minerals in the rest of your day, whether that's through a liquid supplement, whether that's through your foods, things like that. Spring water is great because it has natural minerals if it's sourced from a clean place, right? Of course, yeah. Anything that's been put through some sort of process is just not quite what we would like or what nature has provided. But the idea is to have something that has some minerals in it and no toxins. So those are some options. Most tap water, does contain some sort of chemicals. Through the processing, it can be chlorine. Even pesticides and metals, it's not just lead. We hear about lead in this pipe, but it's really so much more. Pathogens can be in there, chemicals from manufacturing, plastics, even residual from medications and, pharmaceuticals have been found in tap water. So I would say if you have tap water, do get a filter. Any filter is better than no filter.
We're out in the country, and we're on the side of the escarpment, essentially, which used to be the prehistoric times, the lake shore of Lake Ontario a long time ago. And so all of our water is sourced from two springs, which are on the escarpment. And then there's a small enclosed water system for this subdivision here. So the water that comes out of the rock from the springs is incredibly hard. So it's very, very mineral rich. However, that can absolutely destroy your plumbing and your appliances. So we have water softener, which strips a lot of that mineral content out for sure.
Yeah, and the minerals coming from the spring, it's if you need to take some of that out to function, right, to have your house function, that's better or a better situation than having sometimes the minerals that have been added back to water aren't ones that we can even assimilate or use, right?
Well,
I mean,
I didn't know that.
rock is a mineral.
Right. So they add minerals back into.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't aware of that. Oh.
Yeah, in some, right? Because if they're taking out all the chemicals, usually the process takes out everything, or a lot of the processes take out everything because it's like they don't know how to separate from, good or bad or friend or foe. It's like we're just going to take everything out of the water and then we can add back in what we want. And that's a good idea. But sometimes what they add back in, and it just depends on the city and the company or wherever you're getting it, if it's really something you can assimilate or not, are they really beneficial?
Speaking of municipal water, I'm unaware of the situation in your part of the world, but is fluoride in water still a thing?
Mm-hmm. It is in most that I know of. Most cities in the United States do still have fluoride in their water.
And what are your thoughts on that?
I think that at a certain level, fluoride is a neurotoxin. So you just want to be really careful. You need so little of it to live that I'm just not sure that we need it in our water. But it's really, individual.
Yes.
Yeah.
Here's another question. You mentioned there about alkaline water, and I was looking at lots of different types of water and the way that they're marketed, and some of them blew my mind. Is there any benefit from these waters that are super oxygenated or are alkaline and the like?
So in general, I think the alkaline water kind of came with that alkaline diet, like craze, right? And that was maybe 6 years ago. So in general, you don't want to be too alkaline or too acidic, right? Like there's problems that come when your body's too acidic. And that tends to be where, at least in America, most people are, because a standard American diet is very acidifying, right?
Right. Yeah.
So when something like the alkaline diet, alkaline water comes out, it's going to help theoretically a lot of people that are eating the standard American diet. But being too alkaline, that's not good either, right? Like where our body, first of all, our body has all different pHs. Our blood and our saliva and our stomach and you name it is all different
it's all over
pHs.
Yeah.
So to think that we're just going to like alkalize our whole body is not a good idea, right? You don't want your stomach to be alkaline. You wouldn't break down any food. So I don't know that alkaline water is necessarily the best way to alkalize our body, nor should we. And that depends on what you eat. Like I'm plant-based, so I eat a ton of green leafy vegetables, citrus, veggies, fruits. Those tend to be more alkalizing. So for me, alkaline water would be a terrible idea because I already lean that way, right? So it kind of depends. And again, it depends on the type of alkaline water. Like how did they make it alkaline? Did they add minerals that if you stick a pH strip in there, it's going to show you alkalinity, but how does that act in your body, right? We don't know. So I think it would depend on, brand to brand and how they were alkalizing that. And, for example, lemon on the outside of our body is super acidic, but it actually has an alkalizing effect in our body. So even if you are looking at something that's alkaline, we don't know if that's going to have the same effect in our body.
So perhaps you can clear a few things up for me. What is this concept of being able to eat one's water? Where does that come from?
Yes. So there's fruits and veggies that have a high water content. So things like cucumber, tomatoes, lettuces, melons, celery, like they are, upwards of 80, 90% water. Right. So you can hydrate from ingesting those fruits and veggies. And the cool thing about the food having the water is that it also comes along with the cofactors needed for the body to assimilate it, right? So the nutrients, the minerals, the vitamins, all of those things that the body needs to actually utilize the water is in the food. So like we talked about, when you drink a lot of water and it goes right through you, that's not necessarily hydrating, right? So it's not just what you drink, it's what you absorb, right? Like what can actually get into the cells, and what's in the food that has a high water content are those cofactors that are needed. So it can be really beneficial if you have, salads and celery and, these high water content fruits and vegetables throughout the day. That's very hydrating.
So would you say in analyzing yourself that you do get sufficient hydration every single day?
I definitely miss days, but I would say on the most part, like I have a water bottle with me all the time,
Right.
like all the time in
Yes.
my car, in the, at my desk, in my bedroom, like all the time. And that's what I suggest to my clients. And that's what I would suggest to anybody is like, whatever it is to have it close to you. So that's your habit and you can just reach for it. Because when I'm at my desk and I have my water next to me, I can just sip while I'm working. I'm near it. So I don't go have those big gaps where I'm missing water and then I feel like I need to guzzle it. So I feel like I do, but again, like I keep an eye on how often I urinate. I keep an eye on my energy level because some of the things that can be caused by just a 2%, like drop in hydration are things like your energy level. If your bowels are moving, if they're not moving, right? If they're sluggish, that can be improved by hydration. Dry skin, headaches, stiff joints like backaches, things like that, muscle cramps, brain fog. Like these are things most people like experience like on a regular basis to some degree. And of course, there's other things playing into it, but like those kinds of things, like if you feel like you want to take a nap at 2:00 in the afternoon, like try a glass of water, just see if that might be it, right? We always run for the coffee, right? Like, or like that sweet treat or something for that quick energy. You could just be low on hydration. When you wake up in the morning, that's another good reason to have that water in the mornings because a lot of us wake up kind of stiff and creaky. And you can address that by getting that water down, muscle cramps, all that kind of stuff. Brain fog, who doesn't have brain fog? So, I think we could fix a lot of problems with just making sure we're all hydrated. And it, like I said, doesn't take that much of a drop, 2% drop, 5% drop to experience like a lot of these issues.
Interesting. Well, I'm going to try and keep up with my hydration today. Thank you very much for answering all of my questions there. I have learned quite a lot about water today. Jill.
Excellent. Who knew there was so much?
Yes. Jill, thank you for joining us at Good Food Revolution once again. Take care. Have a great day.
You as well.
Bye for now.
Bye.